Hey guys, it's Snipezy and welcome to a special Mass Effect Andromeda video. So today I'm going to be showing you guys some multiplayer gameplay from Mass Effect Andromeda shortly after the 1.9 patch was released. Before we get started, I just want to mention that this is all post gameplay, which means I'm going to be commentating the gameplay whilst I'm watching it with you guys. For those of you that watched my previous Mass Effect videos, you'll probably know that I've been having some problems with the actual gameplay, lagging and all that kind of stuff, and that's mainly the reason why I'm not doing it live, because I don't want my PC to have a strenuous amount of software going on with the face cam and capturing my commentary, so I thought I'd just nim it down a little bit so that it won't be that much of a strain with the actual gameplay. So the gameplay should look quite decent compared to the actual gameplay that I've been doing on the campaign of Andromeda. I've checked back through the gameplay that we're going to be watching today, and I think it's actually pretty decent compared to the campaign, so I think it's kind of worked in my favour. Also, something I want to mention about the recent news, the very sad news for us Mass Effect Andromeda fans, is that BioWare Montreal, the developers who have worked on Andromeda, are actually not going to be working on this game anymore. They have merged over to EA Motive, so this could have an impact on the Mass Effect series quite deeply, both short term and long term. It could even be another 5 years until another game comes out, but all we can do is hope that there is going to be light at the end of the tunnel and the series will actually continue. So with all the things that I wanted to mention out of the way, let's get straight into the Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer. Okay, so the first match is going to be with the human male infiltrator, which you can probably already tell by my campaign. He is my favourite character because I love using the sniper rifles in this game, just in general really, but he's pretty fun to play on the multiplayer since he has the tactical cloak, and he has also incinerate, and he also has the grenades. And these are the powers that I've powered up for this character. I focused on sticky grenades and the tactical cloak. I don't really see much point of using incinerate that much, so I decided just to keep it at 1. But yeah, I focus on having him as the main sort of sniper, where he'll be behind cover supporting the other players in the match, and as well just throwing the grenades and setting up some targets for my other fellow members in the match. So I decided to play the first match on Firebase Aqua, which is a newly added map on the multiplayer, and I really like it, especially during the daytime. And the reason why I've started on wave 3 is because the start of the match was really quiet, and that was like the first person that came into the game. But as you can see, I'm starting off with a hack in this match, and with hacks basically what you have to do is you have to hold down the area that is indicated on the map, and you have to stop the enemies from coming into contact in this vicinity, otherwise the hack will be temporarily sustained. As in, you won't be able to progress with the hack. It'll be pretty much like frozen in a way. And I think, I don't know if this is right or not, but if enemies are in like a red, if the bar is like red where it says hack process, it might mean that the hack process goes down slightly. I'm not too sure on that, but if you guys do know, then let me know. But yeah, as you can see, we're just holding down the area, and I'm just sniping down all of the enemies that are surrounding us. And as well, something else I forgot to mention is that I am playing on bronze on this match, and I am fully maxed out, as you could tell earlier as well. I am at level 20 with this character, and I am up against the assemblers, is it? Oh no, the remnant. Yeah, they're the assemblers there, but in general I'm up against the remnant. And the standard enemies are the assemblers, really, pretty much. They're like the soldiers of the enemies. And right now you can see I'm fighting the observers, and they fire a beam from a long range, and they can be pretty sneaky. I'll say like gradually take out your health. They are pretty nasty. And as you can see that I'm just jumping up, sniping down at an enemy. And we finally had another person join in the match. So unfortunately I don't really have that many people who play Mass Effect Andromeda, like a large amount of people, but maybe in the future I might ask some people if you know, they'd like to play with me. That would be pretty cool. But we have another character. Oh, there's another one as well. So we have an Asari Huntress, I believe. and there's an assembler right by her because I don't think she loaded into the map yet. And we have, I think that was a Turian agent. They're pretty good classes, especially the Asari Huntress, because I recently just got her from a pack and I was so happy because from this moment of the multiplayer I didn't actually unlock her and I was trying to get her, but I'm so glad because I've nearly maxed her out and she's a pretty awesome character. And that's another one of the characters there, the Nullifier, and they have a nasty bit of armor and they can pretty much fire like a projectile at you, and even if you're behind cover they will still hit you, so be careful of those because they can cause a lot of trouble, and pretty much when they hit you they interrupt you, which is not good. But as you can see, we are currently on wave 4 and we're actually doing pretty well so far. Not that many people have died really, so we're just doing pretty well, to be fair. I'm not really too sure what the levels of the other characters were, but I think they were pretty decent, to be fair. Also, shout out to everyone that helped me out on this match. If you are in this video that you notice that your name tag is on here from the Origin PC version of Mass Effect Andromeda, then yeah, shout out to you guys and let me know if you are in this match. But yeah, as you can see, we're just going through the enemies like they are very thin pieces of bread. But yeah, my tactic does vary sometimes whilst I'm playing through, because sometimes if you just like sitting down at cover, it can get a tad bit boring, especially if nothing's going on. So here and there I like to move around, you know, so that I can focus on taking down enemies. But if things are like pretty heavy and I have a good perspective of where the enemy is, then I will try to snipe them. So as you can see, I'm supporting one of my other teammates as well from the Destroyer, which is again another new type of enemy, and they are pretty tough because I think they may be like the hardest enemies that you can come across from the Remnant, and they have both shields and armor with the little guns next to them. They can shoot you like obviously not through cover like the Nullifiers, but they do cause a lot of damage, and it's like pretty rapid fire with those guns, but not as rapid as the servers because they do get on my nerves sometimes. But they are quite hard to take out. The main strategy I'd say for those enemies is to focus on taking down the guns first. So we are on to another objective, which is devices. So with this objective, what you have to do is you have to disable all the devices that are surrounded in the map, and they pop up one by one as you progress by taking down these devices. And what I would recommend is, if you are in a group of people that you're playing with, that you know, or if you're just playing with other people, regardless, if you're playing as someone that is an infiltrator, or you have an ability that allows you to cloak, such as tactical cloak or even stealth grid, then I definitely recommend that you volunteer yourself to go for the devices, because as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm cloaking myself before I actually use the Omni tool to disable the devices, because it definitely helps you from, you know, being protected, I guess, and the enemies can't see you whilst you're being cloaked, which is a huge help for when you're trying to get rid of all of the devices. And as well, something I just want to note is that from the recent patch that they released, I think it's still the same case as of now, because the most recent patch is the 10.10 patch. The devices and as well the hacks, I've noticed they've gotten a lot harder. So with the devices, they've made the time period to actually disable the devices a lot shorter. Like, they vary between 40 seconds to 1 minute or something, and I think they used to be about 2 minutes each to disable a device, and just with that comparison, it's made it a lot harder. But what people were typically saying who play Andromeda was that the upload was like the easiest objective, like out of all of the objectives. It was like the easiest because it's pretty much 3 little vicinities that you have to bunker down, whereas with the hack it's one large area. And that's another thing, the hacks, they have definitely been numbed down a bit. They are a lot harder now, because with hacks, the case used to be that it doesn't matter if an enemy is actually in the field with the hack, it will still progress as long as the teammate is in the field. However, when an enemy is in the field, that is completely different. It will be paused, like it'll be numbed down, the hack won't progress, which is a bit of a shame. And now we are actually on the final wave, wave 7, and at this stage it is the extraction, where we have to prepare to finish the mission, and we pretty much have to like avoid the enemies by like, you know, not dying basically. Typically what I like to do is I don't normally like to stay near the extraction. I like to sort of move away from it, so that if enemies are near the extraction, then I'll try and take them down. But I do notice some people tend to wait by the extraction whilst it's going down, because you don't actually have to be in the extraction area whilst the timer is ticking. You can actually just wait until it gets to the last 20 seconds and make your way there if you're quick enough, because I know there's characters that have increased movement speed, you know, and they probably have no problem getting to the objective as long as they don't get killed by the enemy. And as you can see, there's like another type of enemy as well, the Breacher. They're from the campaign as well. I think pretty much they're all from the campaign, these enemies. But the Breachers, they can be pretty nasty since they can grab you, and they cause a slight bit of melee damage, and they can actually like float in the air like the Observers. So you could shoot them in the air as they're trying to come towards you, because they do move quite slowly, probably the same speed of Observers. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of this match. And I gotta say, it was actually pretty decent since no one really died that much. And as you can hear, the time is ticking down for the extraction, and we had a nice little stealth there from the Asari Huntress helping us out. Full extraction as well. So if you complete the objectives with like the best possible rating, then you do get more bonuses. And now we're moving on to the next match, which is with my Angara Insurgent. So with this character, I tend to like to use a shotgun, and as well with the recent patch that has been included in the game, they have included what you could call skins. So with the skins, you can use them to your advantage, where they have an effect that gives you a benefit. So for example, the one I have is called the Bulwark, and with that it gives you more damage resistance when you're closer to your allies, and it stacks up depending on how many enemies you are near. And as you can see, we're going through the powers just there, and I tend to like to have him focus on these the trip mines, because they're a unique power for this character, and I like to definitely use it to my advantage. And I just like to set them all up around the match, so that when an enemy gets too close to where I want to bunker down, they will get damaged by the trip mine, and most enemies that are like weak, they'll most likely get taken out in one hit by the mine, which is really handy. And as well, I like to stack up with like the boosters that give you more power cells. That's what I normally tend to stick with. And as you can see in the match as well, I'm joined by one of my fellow friends that I've known for a really long time, who is also known as TRIOXAN. It's the channel he manages. So yeah, go ahead and check out his channel if you want to see some of the stuff that he plays, because he does play a lot of shooters, and I thought I'd ask him if he'd like to play with me, and he was like, yeah, sure, I'll play. But yeah, it went pretty smoothly this match. So in this match, we were actually playing on the silver difficulty, which is the it's like the second easiest difficulty, whereas bronze is the easiest and silver is like the second easiest. And we did pretty well, to be fair, because the difficulty in Mass Effect, in the multiplayer, it's always been quite harsh, especially now that they've added Platinum. And I gotta say, I've done a few matches and they are so hard. They are so hard. But this match actually went pretty well since we were on silver. And also something that I didn't mention before about this character is that he has the shield boost, which is a support power, and basically it will give you shields for yourself and your characters that are in the vicinity of the shield boost, and it will gradually restore shields over time depending on how you decide to power it up. What I tend to do is I like to have the shield boost give you more shields over time and focus on just dishing it out with a high recharge speed. And I believe Mr. JGLC was playing as a soldier in this match as well, just as a little side note. And I think we were pretty much maxed out for these characters. I think we were level 20, maybe for this character, I'm not too sure. And I also gave my character a little bit of cryo ammo because these ammo powers, they give you more power with the weapon damage, and as well they set up the target by priming enemies, and with priming it basically sets up the targets so that they can be caused, they can have a explosion caused to them, which can be done with tech, cryo, fire, biotic. There's probably another one, I think I've mentioned fire, didn't I? But I'm sure there's others as well, probably. But they're like the main sort of explosions, detonations that you can do with different powers, and the ammos that you can use for your character. And they are really good for dishing out damage on the enemy in like a wide sort of spread area. And as well, you're going to be seeing a lot of that in the next match after this as well. Also, something about this character is that I gave my trip lines the ability to detonate targets, because they can't normally do that if it's not maxed out to the full and you choose to have it detonate on impact when a target is primed by anything, whether it's like fire, biotics or ice. And I thought it was like a really good sort of support ability to give to the power, since it gives it more sort of versatility and a bit more of an oomph. So if I'm in a bit of a tricky situation, like there's a fiend somewhere, then it will cause a lot of damage. And you can probably tell by the characters, well, by the enemies in this game, you know, they're pretty similar to the ones in the campaign, since you do actually see a lot of these characters in the campaign pretty early off. They are not too hard to take out, to be fair. Like the Chosen, they're, you know, your standard. Then you have the Wraith, which are like these creatures that run up to you and they can sneak up by behind since they can cloak, which is pretty sneaky. You also have the Destined and Anointed, which are near where we're doing our upload, and they are pretty sneaky. They are pretty sneaky, the Destined. And something to note about the upload is that it is scattered between 3 different areas, which is why earlier you could see we were bunkering down in one section and the others were focusing on a different section as well. And I would say it's typically good to just spread yourselves out so the enemies will sort of not focus in one large area to hone in on the uploads. It will make it a lot easier if more people are spread out, I'd say, but it can be a bit harder if one of the characters that you're playing with, one of your teammates, is a bit weak. So if you're playing with someone who is a bit of a low level, then it might be a good idea to help them out if you can. And as well, we are now on wave 4, and we are getting through this match pretty quickly for a silver. We're actually doing really well. We're 5 minutes in, and as you can see there, I pretty much just froze the enemy, since the ammo powers, they pretty much they trigger whilst you like hit an enemy for a certain amount of time. It's a lot easier with the rapid fire weapons, not really with shotguns, but I use the, you know, the ammo power to my advantage when I was using the equalizer that I use. I really like using the equalizer as well. It's a pretty handy weapon. But I do want the N7 Hurricane, which I have not yet gotten, because I love that weapon. It is such a good pistol. I can't wait to get it. And to this day, I can't get it. And I think in this match as well, we're playing with another Asari Huntress. I gotta say, they are really good classes in this game. I really like them. They might be one of my favourites in the multiplayer. And as well, the newest sort of like characters that they've been adding, I think they're really cool as well. Like what I mentioned before about the gameplay, you know, well, not the gameplay, about the Bioware Montreal thing. I think at least it's good that they're releasing more things on the multiplayer, because if they didn't, I would have been a bit sad about that. You know, I probably wouldn't be playing to this day if they didn't add more content, since I pretty much have nearly all the characters that were added at the start. I just have 2 left that were started from the beginning to get, and that's it. But I think I might stop playing when I get all the characters, or if I'm just burnt out when like, nah, I can't really play anymore. I've enjoyed what I can from this game, but they are still releasing new content, so I'm happy to just keep on playing. So yeah, as you can see, I'm just pretty much making sure that I'm supporting people with the shield boost as well. I don't really focus that much on the assault turret, but it's handy to have the turret around so that the enemies sort of focus on the turret, because they are classed as like another target to the enemy, so they will focus on the turret if it's nearby. And as well, I think you can boost its shields with the shield boost, but I don't think it does too much for it really. But sometimes I just give it a bit of shields to see if it actually works. But if you guys do know if it does have a sort of like positive impact towards the turrets, and please let me know. And as you can see, I was cloaked again by the Asari Huntress. I'm not too sure what the other character is in this game, the other player is. I'm not exactly too sure, but I haven't really been paying too much attention. But yeah, as you can see there, I set up a trip mine, since it was a little bit of a sticky situation with that fiend there. Oh, I thought that was going to detonate a fire combo, but he wasn't primed. Oh, that did though, that detonated. But yeah, as you can see, we're just getting down the objectives. We're doing pretty well. And I can see the other player as well. Moving across the map, doing his own thing. And as well, the other skins that you can get in the game as well, something that I didn't really mention, is that you can get 3 different types of skins. The one that I'm using for my weapon is the Bulwark. There, you can get all the skins for all of the weapons, by the way, as well. There is also the Siphon, which gives you health over time whilst you hit enemies. And the other skin, I can't remember the name of it, but it's the Concussive, that's the name of it. And what that does is, if you defeat an enemy with a headshot, it will cause a sort of biotic explosion, sort of similar to what a Singularity does if you have the detonate ability for it, but a little bit smaller. But it definitely has a great impact if you have it maxed out quite well. And I gotta say, that takeout for that Ascendant was pretty nice. And those Ascendants are pretty nasty as well, since they can pretty much take you out in one hit if they grab you. Same for the Fiends as well, so be careful with the bigger enemies because they can take you out in one hit. I don't think the Remnants can actually do that as I did in the previous match. I don't think any of the enemies can like grab you and KO you, but I know that the Outlaw and the Cats definitely do that to your characters, so watch out for those. Especially since I think the Cat have 2 ways that the enemies can 1-KO all of your allies. And as you can see, there's like a blue aura near our characters as well. I know this is going a little bit off topic, but that basically means that they're triggering the skin that they have for their weapon. So I've got a blue aura, and so does the character next to me, which means that the Bulwark is actually activating. And I've just noticed we have 2 Asari Huntresses. The more the merrier, because the Huntresses are really good in this game, as I keep on saying. But yeah, watch out for the Anointed and the Fiends in this. Against these enemies, they are pretty nasty. Since the Ascendants, they will try to teleport, so they could be behind you and you won't even notice. But listen out for when they activate the area, like their orb, to crush you. Because if a ally doesn't use a Cobra RPG, or if they don't take out the enemy in time, you will get KO'd. And we pretty much finished the whole mission there, full extraction again. But yeah, it's really good for getting extra credits if you get those objectives done. And now we are moving on to the next match, which is with one of my favourite classes, the Asari Adept. and she is a really fun character for causing explosions, biotic detonations. It's really fun. And when I was playing with this character, I focused on the Lance biotic power instead of throw, but after I was playing through, I decided to swap it over with focusing on throw, because it has a faster recharge speed, which means more biotic detonations and combos. And as well, it has a power where if you do a biotic detonation, it will cause more damage as well, so that's really handy. But yeah, for this match I'm using Lance, but I thought it'd be handy to cause more damage with the Lance, but overall I'd say focus on throw instead of Lance. And the Annihilation Field with this class is really handy as well. It is really, really fun. So in this match we are playing against the Outlaw. I think we're on silver on this match as well. And we are on the Firebase Sandstorm, and previously we were on Firebase Magma. Sorry, I forgot to mention about that as well. As well, I believe I'm playing with Mr. JGLC again in this match, so again, check out his channel if you want to see what he does. And as well, we had a full party as well whilst we were playing in this match, and again, shout out to the people who were also in this match as well. So I believe we had an Angara in our team as well whilst we were playing on this match, and I think a Turian as well. I'm not too sure, but when we see them pop up, I will let you know what class they are, because I pretty much know what all the classes are. I've played too much of this game since at this moment I am at the rank 11,500 Apex, and then this one I think I'm like 9,000, I believe. But yeah, compared to then, it was pretty low. But yeah, as you can see with this character, she can be pretty weak. So she doesn't take well with taking hits, but she's good for moving around the map. That is what I'd say you'd want to focus with on this character, is you want to move around so that you can cause as much detonations as you can. Since if you have the power that I had going on with the Annihilation Field, it basically restores my shields when an enemy is taken out in the field. It doesn't matter if I take out the enemy, or if it's one of my teammates that take it out. As long as they are defeated in the field that I'm using, then the shield boost will activate for myself and all the other party members as well. And it's around 20%. It gives you extra shields for your party. And I believe the other character we're playing with, I think he was an Angara Exemplar, a recently added character. By the way, that double explosion just then was awesome. Like, I think I did that with the throw, and then Mr. JGLC probably used a concussive shot to take him out as well, which is really awesome. But yeah, it's a pretty decent class, the Exemplar. I haven't unlocked him yet, but I do want to, since he does have some really nice powers. So again, we are doing another objective with the devices. There is also another objective called Boss. I don't know if I did this in this match, but basically with Boss, you will face against 3 enemies that will spawn in one at a time, like the devices, and you'll have a time limit to take out the enemy, which tends to be around 2 minutes to take it out. And if you're on a harder difficulty on the match, then it will be like a tougher version of the hardest enemy of like the enemies you're fighting against. So I believe for the Outlaws there's a type of Hydra which is pretty nasty. Like I can't remember the name of the Hydra, but it can cause a lot of damage since it moves really quickly, and it fires like the cannon it has really quickly. For the other classes, I believe there's like an upgraded destroyer, and as well there's also an enemy for the Ket. Oh yes, there is. There's like a special Krogan-like character for the Ket, which is really cool. He's like an exclusive enemy that you only get when you have the boss objective, which is really cool, and he's quite easy to take out, but he can cause a lot of damage, so watch out for those. Also, there's a lot of variety going on with the enemies in this enemy type as well. You'll notice that, like, there's the standard outlaws, like the raiders, and then you've got the sharpshooters, which are basically your snipers. You got the agents, which will make a clone appear of themselves, and if you take it out, you'll get no points, and it's like a distraction so that you focus on the clone and not the actual enemy itself. You got the anarchists as well. They're like your shotgun characters that fire. I think they. Oh no, they don't fire flat cannons, but they throw grenades quite a lot. You also have the Parlia, which have shields, and they like to use a backlash, which basically deflects all shots and powers that you fire against the backlash. It's like basically a force field that will reflect anything you hit at them. You also have the Krogans, which are basically the berserkers, that's what they are called, and they fire a flat cannon and they melee you if you're up close, and they'll basically headbutt you if they do. And you have the Addy as well, which are very similar to the Wraith, but I don't think they can actually cloak, so you can see them from a distance. Luckily with these enemies, like if they were able to cloak, that would be really sneaky for these enemies. It would be really sneaky. Like, they'd have the drop on you so early. And as well, the Hydra, which you saw earlier, they are pretty tough, since they can fire like the cannon that they have, and they can shoot rockets from a distance. They are pretty sneaky. But yeah, I think that's basically all the enemy types for like the outlaws. And you may notice a lot in this match that I lose my shields quite a lot, so it does force me to have to bunker down and wait for my shields to come back up, or try and find an enemy to defeat in my field, as I'm trying to do there quite badly. I should have just, yeah, I completely failed. But yeah, I'm just trying my best to like make sure my my shields are back up all like constantly, and I try to make sure that if an enemy is in trouble, I'll try to get to them if I can. But it can be a bit stressful when you're at the adept, if you're trying to like focus on different priorities. But yes, this is the boss objective, target eliminated. So you typically have 3 to take out until you have the big bad boy at the end, the really tough enemy. And we'll probably see the Hydra at the end as well when we come across the 3rd and final target of this objective. And typically as well, a major thing to know about this mode is that, well, especially for the multiplayer, is that with the bronze, silver and gold objectives, there's normally 7 waves, unless you're doing like a special Apex mission. Like with platinum, they do change quite differently, and I just got instantly KO'd by that Hydra, which was not great. But yeah, I think previously in the patches, if you were to be meleeed by those guys, I think you would actually just not be able to revive. And as you could see there, you may notice that there's these numbers at the bottom with like different icons, and one of them has gone down to 4. Basically, I used a revive pack to bring myself back up, since I didn't really want to wait for one of my teammates to bring me up. I wanted to just make it a lot easier for them. So I decided to revive myself instead, and then I just used Cobra RPG on that special Hydra, which is called Blaze Hydra, and they move really fast, so watch out for those, because they can chase you and try to like take you down, because they can cause a nasty bit of damage. And also, if you guys notice that I suddenly go from tiny bits of health and then I'm back to full shields, basically I have a power which allows me to gain all of my shields if I'm below 25% health, and that's maxed out when you max out the support passive ability, which basically increases your health and shields, that sort of thing. But we are currently on the final wave of this match, and this is actually the final match as well. So I'd like to quickly say that I hope that you guys have enjoyed this episode, and as well, this is probably going to be the last video that I do of Mass Effect Andromeda due to my technical incapabilities with this game, which is a bit unfortunate. But yeah, like normally whilst I'm playing on my own, the game does perform a lot better, obviously, since my computer isn't really, you know, using loads of software. I do kind of regret not getting the Xbox version or the PlayStation version. For me, it would have been PlayStation 4. But I mainly got it just for the mods because, like, that's why I liked getting, why I like playing Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 on the PC is because of the mods. And if there are current mods that are out there, or mods that are being used, then I'll definitely have to check them out. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the multiplayer as it goes. And I really hope that you guys have enjoyed, and please let me know if you would like me to do some more Mass Effect Andromeda on the multiplayer. But unfortunately I won't be doing the campaign, as I did mention previously. The links will be in the description for that video, and I basically tell you guys about why I decided to cancel the campaign early and to cut it off. But if things change in the future where I get a better PC, then yeah, like I said in that video, I would go back to this series. But for now, it's pretty much not going to be happening, since I don't think I'll be getting a new PC anytime soon, unfortunately, due to, you know, finance and stuff, since I am a student. And it's quite hard for us to keep all the our monies, even though I don't really go out a lot, you know. I only go every so often, occasionally, like probably once a month, that's it. But anyways, hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave me a like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see some more videos on the channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. So until then guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next episode of whatever I do next. So until then, see ya!